There is a notion floating out there in the ether that boats are a necessary evil in the technological advancement and general advancement of humankind. That it's all the slavery and the lives lost and the hardship are necessary in order that humans could leave their chunk of land and move out across the water to see what lies beyond. And that all the times that someone has fallen overboard into the deep is worth it. In a way, there's a sense that boats are nothing but this plank that's sent off from the safe spots, the land, the place where we know we are secure and on solid ground, in order to jump off into the unknown, into the deep, and see what lies beyond. Recently, however, I've come to realize that boats, at least in sailboats, are not really about the water at all, and they're actually more about the wind and the wants of the wind, and using those wants to further one's own aims. And the game that's taught me the most about that is Regatta. Regatta is not a game I went looking for. It's a game that came to me, and when it came to me like this. You unsnap this thing and fold out what turns out to be the game's board. You see you have some water here, and then there's also a box, and inside the box are these 3 islands, these little flags, these boats, some cards, and a special die, rules and whatnot. One thing you should understand before I continue is that this is I believe the earliest edition of this game. There are different editions, and the different editions are different, slightly in terms of rules, and I think even more so in terms of components. So what you see here may not be what you get if you were to pull Regatta off the shelf at your local Goodwill or receive it in a trade of some sort. There are lots of different ways you can set up Regatta. Here's the way I set it up. And they pretty much, any way you set it up, are going to use these common components. You're going to use 2 buoys to have the start and finish line. Another buoy to have kind of where they have to go first, and then another buoy where they have to go second, and then through here. You can also place these islands as sort of obstacles that guide the way the course the boats will take. Most important, I think, central component and thing on this board is this wind dial here. Here you see all these yachting terms and maybe general sailboating terms, luffing, beating, beam reach, broad reach, etc. Those refer to particular sailing maneuvers that work with the wind in different ways. And here we have our players already with their boats. They are going to take turns placing their boats before the starting line, and that's one of the strategic points of the game. They're going to have 3 rounds before they can actually cross the starting line to kind of maneuver their boats in position without crossing the starting line, because they will be penalized if they cross the starting line before the 3rd round of the game. The round works like this. The first player is going to roll the die. If they get an S like so, that means they're going to shift the dial one little space like that, and then pass the die in a new round, and automatically it begins. The next person is going to roll the die, and if they get a number, that's how many different moves a particular person can do. Now this shift of the dial is standard. Every S is going to move at the same amount. However, since there are 2 S's on the die, it's a 1 in 3 chance that you will get the shift, and so it could shift numerous times before you have a turn again. So this 2 that Vaughn just rolled is going to be the roll for the round, and everyone is going to get 2 moves. So it's a roll and move game to an extent, but everyone uses the same number on a given turn. So Vaughn, she has the red boat. She gets 2 moves, and we're going to say 3. It's round 3, so she can just move. How she moves is going to be based on this dial. She obviously wants to go towards this. But she has to work with the wind here. So the wind's going from this direction. If she looks like the best move for her would be to go diagonal north, because then she gets to move 2 spaces like this, 1, 2. That's just 1 move. She has 2 moves, as it says on the die, so she can go again. Then after each person has moved, which they have, she rolls the die again. 3 would be the number of moves that each player would get for the next round. You are most certainly wondering about these cards here. There are 2 different types of cards in the game. There's these puff cards, which you basically use these to get an additional movement. They represent a little localized puff of wind that you for some reason can control. It kind of steps out of the simulative aspect of the game. It's pretty gamey, the puff cards, because I think these localized winds do happen. I don't think sailors can really control that. I don't think if they, all get together and blow real hard at the sail, I don't think it's going to give you an extra space. This they can control, however. It's a spinnaker, and this spinnaker isn't something you spend, it's something you toggle. You either flip it up or flip it down. Nice thing about the spinnaker is with certain moves it gives you an extra space. However, it doesn't work with every kind of move. So if you have your spinnaker up and you're forced to move in a way that can't make use of the spinnaker, you have to spend a movement in order to take it down again. And I think the use of the spinnaker is a nice element. Another nice element is the way that your positioning of your boat can affect other people. For example, Booga's black boat here is directly downwind from Bud's white boat. Now in the basic game, something occurs in this case called blanketing. And basically what's happening is Booga's boat is blocking the wind from Bud's boat, and so Bud essentially loses his turn. He can't catch any wind in his sail, and so he's stuck. Being on a boat and getting on a boat and all the things that you do with boats seems really time consuming to me. You have to do all these different things at the marina, and you have to prepare the boat and take care of the boat. And I'm not sure why one would want to race a boat exactly, but after playing this game, I'm starting to think it's really not so much about the racing of the boat, about working with the wind and feeling the wind and using the wind, compromising with the wind to get where you want to go, and the race is just to have a place to go. Regatta is a simple simulation that may help teach the lessons of sailing, that the easiest way to progress might be via a sort of technological judo, that if we want to go forward, we just need to put up our sails and catch the wind. Regatta,